to SaharaTV. This is still Adiola Fayum. We hope that you've been enjoying the show today so far. We're actually very privileged to have someone with us in the studio today, and she is a registered nurse and the executive director of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses in North America. So, Dr. Grace, you said doctor, right?
Yes.
So you're a nurse and a doctor?
Yes.
I'm confused. Okay, Dr. Grace Ogiehor-Enoma,
Yes.
right? Explain to me, how can you be a nurse and a doctor at the same time?
Yes, and you know that the highest level of education, the pinnacle of education, is the PhD, doctorate program.
So you have PhD in nursing?
In health administration.
In health administration. Huh.
I'm a registered professional nurse.
Whoa.
I have my diploma in Nigeria, and I did my midwifery also in Nigeria before coming to United States.
And that was like 20-something years ago.
About 21 years ago.
21 years ago.
Yes.
And then you did...
So when I came to the United States, I had to do a foreign nursing exam in order to get my licensure.
Okay, we'll come back to the licensing. I'm still hanging on how you got PhD in nursing.
So
did you do a master's and then a PhD?
I actually have to do the BSN, start all over. When I came to the United States, and my goal has always to be to teach. So when I came here, the educational there was educational differences between Nigeria and the United States. So back in Nigeria, nursing is through the Ministry of Health. So you have School of Nursing through Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
But in the United States, it's through the university. So I could not use that degree to teach.
So they didn't recognize that degree for teaching?
Not only for teaching, it's considered a diploma level. And in the United States, nursing profession has moved away from the diploma level into associate and the baccalaureate.
Okay. So I guess we can jump right into my first question, because it looks like how you got the PhD thing will come along as we talk. I want to know, what are some of the culture shocks that you experienced after practicing in Nigeria for 4 years, right?
Yes.
And then you came to the US, you wanted to start nursing. First of all, did you pick up from like right where you left? Because I know you must have been climbing the ladder when you were in Nigeria.
The system in the US is that once the entry level into the nursing profession is either the associate or BSN, the 4-year program or the 2-year program. So when we come in, at the diploma level, it's not considered associate. So that was the first shock. The culture shock.
Even though you've been practicing for 4 years.
But the good thing is, once you are able to pass the foreign nursing exam and the NCLEX, which is the state board exam, you could practice in the hospital.
I see.
But educationally, there's a big difference. So I was able to practice after passing the foreign nursing exam and the state board exam. So I was practicing. But education-wise, that was not where I wanted to be at. So that was the first shock. So I have to start all over again to do the 130 credits to have your baccalaureate, to have your BSN in nursing.
Were you doing that and working at the
Yes,
same time?
doing that, working, raising children, and going to school, which is what most of our nurses are facing right now. And that has been a big barrier to most of our nurses, for them to go over that barrier, go to school, raise children, and work at the same time. So it's very difficult for our nurses who are mothers especially, and I would say Happy Mother's Day to tomorrow.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
So who are mothers and they have to take care of the children. But again, it's the passion and the determination that you have for education, and that has been my legacy, because my goal was to reach the pinnacle, of my profession.
And you did.
So I went back and I did 4 years again of nursing. Yes, at Pace University. And I now decided I won't stop. So when I finished while working, I now went back for my master's. So I did the master's in nursing and the master's in public health, because I love community public health nursing at Hunter College. And after that, then I went for the doctorate. In health administration.
I'm inspired. Like right now, I'm really inspired. So before we came in, I remember that you were telling me that a lot of what you had learned in Nigeria were more theoretical in terms of the school.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Nursing education in Nigeria is solid, and I discussed that with my colleagues. I was at length that we are very good theoretically back in Nigeria. Everything is
theoretically.
yeah.
Okay.
So everything is taught through the textbook. You have to memorize. You have to learn. But when coming to the United States, we find that there are a lot of equipments that you have to get used to. So those theories that were being taught, you could actually visualize it here in the US. So that is a big difference.
You know what is funny is that it's not just in nursing. I think in so many areas of Nigerian education, we learn a lot of things in classroom, but we don't actually get to practice them. I know people who are learning about, is it aeronautic engineering or something, and they never touched the plane.
Yeah. And that is a big difference, where here you start with the equipment as you go along. But the good thing though, that foundation helps.
It's good.
That Nigerian education foundation helps most of us, because most of the Nigerian nurses here, they have done so well because of the background we have. So we build on that foundation. We have good foundation. That is why one of our program in the National Association of Nigerian Nurses is giving back. We go home every year to give back to our community.
Wonderful.
And we've developed, we've formed a group of educators. I'm a professor at Hunter College, and I teach graduate program. And so we have a couple of Nigerian nurses that have PhD in nursing, and they're ready to go back to teach, to help move nursing from the ministry or from the hospital system into the university system, because that is a big barrier right now at home.
What about helping to move from just theory-based teaching to practice?
We're doing that also. The alumni association, or I think Enugu, they go home every year to do, we call it educational mission. You know, to give, so July 10th through the 13th, they will be in Enugu and Abia to teach the nurses. So they take some equipment, you know, with them. But the government have to do more. You know, the Minister of Health, the Commissioners of Health, they have to see that there is a need when it comes to education. I think we're going in the right direction. When I left Nigeria, there were only 2 universities offering BSN. Now we have 10.
Wonderful.
Yes, so there is...
but 10 in the whole of Nigeria? Well, that's not all that wonderful.
Compared to 2.
Yeah, with 160 million people. I can
always see the cup
how many people want to be
not
nursing.
Empty.
Yeah, that is true. We're making
we have
progress,
a long way to go, but we're making progress.
10, the whole country. So tell me about some of the racial differences, or let me say challenges that you faced when you came here, or has everything been rosy?
Not necessarily. The first time I said you have the culture shock, and then you also have to. The good thing with New York City is multi.
It is very diverse.
Diverse, so that is not a big of a problem. But then sometimes you come across some patients that you're taking care of them. First of all, the accent. I've told some of my students, I tell them I'm too old to change my accent. Focus on the content.
You don't need to change your accent,
no,
mommy.
Focus on the content, and then you will be okay. So I've come across some patients that will tell you, go back to Africa. You go in there.
They tell you to go back to Africa?
And I have a good sense of humor, so I usually tell them, if you give me first class, the next available flight, I will be in Nigeria.
Wow, you are very gracious.
I will be there. Well, they are patients, so we have to talk it through.
But what would prompt something like that, though?
It depends on orientation. It depends on orientation. I think some of them, when you come in, they're expecting
a white nurse.
Nurse, and then you come in and you tell them, you know, my name is Grace. I'm a registered professional nurse, and I'm going to be your nurse today. And they're looking, can I see a nurse? And I'm your nurse.
This is it.
Exactly. So it's interesting when you have patients like that.
Wow.
And You have to deal with it. Again, it's ignorance, it's lack of knowledge, and you don't take it personally. I've learned not to take anything personally because I see that knowledge is powerful. So when people don't have that knowledge or social orientation, so it becomes a challenge. So that is why I changed it to sense of humor. I will give me first class.
And you
next available flight, I will be in Nigeria.
Have you ever had a very difficult patient that you tried everything and nothing is just working?
What we do, yes, sometimes you have that, and that is why nursing is a team approach. So you're not alone. When you and one of my favorite theorists in nursing is called Jane Watson's caring theory, where you need to be in the moment. You can't really help the patient if you are not in the moment with the patient. So if you have a difficult patient, you could excuse yourself with your colleagues. Or you could swap. You don't have to force yourself on the patient because the focus here is a healing process. So when you have that negativity, that patient is not going to heal well. So you want that positive approach. So I consider one of my teaching now is seeing in us as the light. When you're sick, you are at the darkest moment of your life. Yeah. So as a nurse, you coming in, you become the hope for that patient. You become the help for that patient. Okay. And then you become the light for that patient. Wow. Imagine when you're sick, nobody wants to be sick because you can't do what you want to do. So a nurse should come in with that light, with that brightness. So if a patient is negative, you don't have to be. So you have to be that light, for that patient.
That's part of the training.
So that helps. That is the training, that you receive in nursing, and that helps to prevent that negative.
Well, earlier you were telling me that when you came, you had to be going to school for 4 years, and you were working at the same time and raising kids.
Yes.
Let me just ask you, how many hours do nurses spend typically, working in a week? And combining that with
it depends. The normal work hours is 35 hours.
So they may be doing full time.
You could do full time and still go to school and go to family again.
So how did you get
time management and family support? Family support. My husband has been very wonderful, and when people say, people use the word.
Husband, I hope you're listening. I hope you're watching. You've been very supportive. Thank you.
Because people say behind every successful man, there is a woman. But I say behind every successful woman, there is a man who cares.
Who cares?
And understand.
I like that.
So and he has been so wonderful, and then with the children, and also have time management. Time management is very important, and making it a family approach.
How many children do you have?
I have 6. Right.
6
5
children.
Of my own, and then
So you were raising 6 children, and you did it all the way till you got a PhD.
Yeah.
I have no excuse.
No, nobody.
Okay.
And I thank God too for America, the flexibility in your work, and flexibility in the classes. And now you have online programs, so nobody have excuse anymore.
Easier.
It's not that it's easier, it's still, you don't have to go but you still have to do the work.
So what about nurses that have this aspiration, they want to do all that you're doing, but maybe they are not getting the support from their husbands?
And again, that is one of the programs we're doing as National Association of Nigerian Nurses. Okay. And even we're having a Father's Day for Nigerian fathers.
Wonderful.
Next month. It's also to encourage Nigerian men or women to support nurses. So we want to honor the men and women who are supporting our spouses, who have been supporting, because it's not easy. Like my colleague said previously, it's so stressful to work. Especially there is a syndrome now that nurses are facing, what we call compassion fatigue. Compassion fatigue. When you go to the hospital, you see somebody that you'll be caring for, because we're there to help, and then the person finally that dies or is not doing well.
It's traumatic.
It's very traumatic. So you take that with you, home. So now you get home, if you don't have a supporting environment, now that is a bigger problem.
You know why I asked that question? There are some Nigerian families, or some reports that I've heard about husbands not supporting their nurse wife. Let's start from the fact that sometimes nurses get paid more than their husbands. So does that bring tension, and how do someone deal with that?
And it's not only in nursing profession. I think the report now is that more women are in the workforce. You actually now have even more women are becoming daughters. So
Yeah.
more women are making more money than their husbands.
Okay.
But for Nigerian community or African community in general in the US, it's a big challenge, not just the money aspect, but the culture shock. Don't forget, back home we raised the man is the head of the house. The man makes the money, and then the woman is stay home taking care of the children. Unfortunately, in the U.S. or Western world, it's different. So you have some of our men who were engineers back home. I think you could hear from my previous colleague who was a journalist back in Nigeria. And then they can't find a job with their training. Now they have to that change. That takes a lot, from you as a human being, and then not to talk about you as a man in the house. But then what I'm even telling
feel the press.
Exactly. What I'm telling the men also, nursing is not only for women. If as you support your wife to go to school to do nursing, you could do the same. Both of you could go. The Filipinos, they do that. You have mother, father, husband. You could have a family of 5 nurses in one family.
Wow.
Yes. And they do it together.
But shouldn't nursing be a calling?
Nursing, yes, it's a calling, but guess what? Sometimes when people go into profession, they go into it at a younger age. They don't really know. I like it because this. But now, as you're getting older, your social orientation is different. So your thinking is different. So in that, people are beginning to see, I'm there to help. Yes, you could put food on your table, but then when you get into it, you could see that the emotion that you like it. So most men are liking it, and they like it now. So we're encouraging our men.
So husband and wife
can
do
it. Exactly.
Okay.
And it helps when they're doing that.
Together.
So together they have something to talk about, they support each other. So because Nigerian men still see nursing as substandard or for women, lower.
And then when the wife is earning more money.
And now the wife graduates. He was the one supporting, taking the wife to, some of them would take them to school, which we applaud that. Now the wife graduates. She's working, she's bringing the money. He is still not working because he did not go, with her. He's still looking for a job. So now that becomes a problem. It depends on some men. Some, they can handle it, because it doesn't matter who brings the money. It's a family thing, family approach. But some men still say, although now we begin to also see that some women also, now they're earning the money, they have to tell the man what to do, which in our culture is not how we're raised.
So we're trying to run up. So I want you to look at the camera and talk to some lady nurses out there, about how they can make it work with their husband, and also some men whose wives are nurses about how they can make this thing work.
And I've seen some men, who have gone back to do nursing, lawyers, journalists, even doctors. I've seen a lot of my colleagues were trained as medical doctors back home. They are now nurses. Nursing is a rewarding profession. So it shouldn't be because, it's for a female or lower level class. No, we are proud nurses. I'm a very proud registered professional nurse, and I'm a proud Nigerian nurse. And we are there to help not only our family. If you're a nurse, you know so much to help your family to be healthy. You're also there to help the community, because right now we have African Americans in the U.S. have chronic diseases, even back home, diabetes, hypertension. So we need more nurses in the profession to help. And guess what? When you come in, not only will you be fulfilled helping, but financially you will also be blessed. So I hope you looking or watching or listening to us, if you're a male, you're a man, please join us. Nursing is a rewarding profession. And then we need to start looking at family, to build our family. Family is very important. Without family, we can't really do much. The children are being affected when family don't work together. Actually, that was how we started the National Association of Nigerian Nurses in North America. Because in 2007, 10 Nigerian nurses were killed by their husband in the US.
10.
That was what made us start the National Association. That no Nigerian nurse, no woman should be killed by the husband. We don't have to go that way. We're also encouraging the nurses to also help their men. You have to help your man. If you're a registered nurse, you have to support your husband. And if you're a Nigerian man, you have to support your wife. Nothing stops the man from going back to school to be a nurse. Guess what? It's even the more the merrier. Your children could be nurses also.
Husband, wife, nurse,
and children. Exactly.
Nurse.
My daughter, my first daughter, she's a nurse.
She's a nurse. Okay,
yes.
So what are some of the things that you put in place to prevent husband killing their wives? Yeah.
Oh, we have we're doing a lot of research right now. Okay. You know, we're doing research. We have a committee in place, Nurses Against Domestic Violence, and we have informations like we're having Father's Day to support,
so
to talk it through.
So the wives can report any violence.
And it's like a taboo. Okay. That is the barrier we're having. Women, even nurses, Nigerian women don't want to talk about abuse. We're not forcing it, but we're trying to look for positive way to deal with it. You know, so and hopefully it will be a thing of the past. No Nigerian woman will die in the hands of their
Amen to
husband.
That is horrible.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Grace, and happy International Nurses Day.
Thank you.
Are you having a party after the show?
Yeah, we're having a party tonight.
Oh, okay.
Red carpet party.
Oh.
For nurses. You're invited. Come over, Hempstead,
I mean, just change profession, you know,
come
just listening to you.
You know, so we're having, we're celebrating.
Wonderful.
You know, International Nurses Day.
Well, thank you.
And I'm a proud Nigerian nurse.
Registered Nigerian
nurse. Yes.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come into the studio with us today. We really appreciate your segment. And I hope that you've learned something from listening to Dr. Grace today. And I just want to leave you with that husband and wife try to work together and make it work. Yes. Make it work. You have to have that determination to make it work no matter what. Yes. So hopefully...
And I will leave you with this. God first, family second, career third. When you work with that recipe, you will be happy the rest of your life.
So God first, family second, career third.